Good morning, friends. This video is meant for all of us. Judging a person doesn't define who they are, it defines who you are. I repeat, judging a person does not define who they are, it defines who you are. What I mean to say, don't be too quick in judging others. If your perspective is clouded by jealousy, negativity, anger, you will never be able to judge others in a proper way. Friends, it often happens that we people always judge others, but we are always mistaken in our judgment. The very fact is that why do we get mistaken in judging others? You can ask the question why do we get mistaken while judging others? It is only because our perspective is always clouded by anger, jealousy, negativity. We are always full of negativity. We always try to look into others with a negative view, with a negative perspective, with anger, jealousy. Often we are jealous of our neighbors. Often we are jealous of our colleagues and our competitors. This is very bad. There is a story behind it. A young couple moved to a new house, a new apartment, and they were just sitting and taking breakfast in the morning. The neighbors, I mean wife, was hanging washed clothes outside on a small rope. So the wife of that man who has shifted into a new house looked out of the window and saw that woman hanging the washed clothes outside. She put a comment and told her husband that look, that woman does not know how to wash clothes. Perhaps she needs a better detergent. She has got a washing machine, perhaps that she doesn't know how to wash clothes properly. She needs to be trained. She went on commenting. The next morning, the same thing happened. The young couple were sitting on the dining table and they were just taking, tea. And then the woman again remarked, saying, "Look, the clothes that she's hanging after washing from the washing machine still looks very dirty. She still needs, you know, some type of guidance." The husband remained silent. The next that was the third day, the woman looked out of the window, and that same neighbor was hanging her wash clothes on the rope, but this time it was very fresh. It looked very neat and clean. The woman, the wife of that husband, remarked, saying, "Look, today she has washed the clothes very well because the cloth is shining bright." The husband laughed and he said, "Look, this morning I cleaned the window, our window through which you look into outside and find the neighbors, I mean, woman hanging the clothes. So this morning I cleaned the very, I mean, window, and that's the reason why the clothes that she has put on the robe is looking fresh and clean." What does it mean? He wanted to tell his wife that, look, the way you are looking out of the window, actually, the window was your perspective of looking. The window was not clean. The window pane was dirty, and that is the reason why the reflection of the clothes hanging outside also looked dirty. So it was not the fault of that woman. The woman was not trained by anybody. She was hanging the clothes, washed clothes very well, and the clothes were well cleaned. But the only reason why it looked dirty to the woman was that she looked out of the window, which was the window pane was dirty. So what does it reflect? It reflects that your perspective of looking and judging at others makes the judgment, biased, prejudiced. You need to have clear concept of perception. Your perspective must not be clouded by anger, jealousy. That woman, the young couple, the woman perhaps was jealous of the neighbor, and she wanted just to see that the woman was not well trained in washing the clothes. Actually, her perspective of looking at the neighbor was full of jealousy, full of anger. And the moment the window was cleaned, the perspective got refined, and she could see the real image of the hanging clothes. So the fact is that we people often judge others with our own perspective, but sometimes our perspectives are clouded by anger, jealousy, negativity. That is the reason why we always get mistaken in judging others. That is the reason why I'm saying that we should not be very quick at the judgment. We should take time. Sometimes we should try to understand that when before judging anybody or before giving any comment about any person, let us first think whether we are looking with the right perspective, whether we are judging that person with a correct, I mean, notion, a correct, I mean, thought, or whether we are biased, jealous, or whether we are clouded by, whether our perspective is clouded by some sort of negative ideas, some sort of prejudices, some sort of, anger or jealousy. Often this world is now burning with anger and jealousy. 90% of the people in this society often suffer anger, jealousy, negativity, and because of that, they are not able to judge others, and that creates confusion. And that is the reason of conflict between man and man, neighbors and neighbors, society and society. The 90% of the conflict in the society take place because of the misunderstanding, because of the wrong perspective, because of the wrong judgment. We often give on, on social media, people keep on, sending and posting the messages, getting prejudiced by others. They should judge whether the post that we are sending, whether the message that we are conveying is right, with the right perspective, what kind of impact it will create on the people around us. That is very important. We should not try to make a negative, I mean, message to the public or through social media, because it will have a longer impact on the people, and the people get misguided. They get misunderstanding. So it is very important that we should have a clear concept, a clear perspective of judging others. Simply reading a post on social media will not give you a judgment about what is happening. There may be other intentions behind any incident. Any incident that takes place in our country may be, you know, supported by or may be guided by some other motives, and that motive actually spoils our, concept and perspective. So we should be very clear about how we are going to judge. Simply reading from the social media or listening from the other resources on internet or on various, various communicative medias, we should not get influenced by these things. We should try to judge others with our right perspective, looking into the ideas whether, and there is a need of getting clean understanding of what is happening around us. We should not be misguided by, simply social media, because nowadays social media has become a tool to misguide and create confusion among the people and spread, rumors, and that leads to violence and conflict. So friends, never try to judge anyone very quickly. Don't be very quick in judging. If your judgment is clouded by anger or jealousy or negativity, certainly it will have a, bad consequence on the society. We should be very careful as a responsible citizen. We should be very careful about, posting any message regarding the people, the society, the nation, or or the unity of the nation. We should always keep in mind the integrity and unity of the nation before getting influenced by any sort of, message, and before sending messages or sending judgment through our social media threads. That is the reason I'm always saying that, and The judgment that you make of others is it doesn't define, the judgment that you are making about others doesn't define who they are. Actually, it defines who you are. As you see the glass that you are wearing, the perspective that you are having, that is the glass, it will reflect the same thing. If you are having a biased glass or a colored glass, or glass that is clouded by some sort of negativity, you will never be able to judge a person in a right perspective. You will always give a wrong judgment, and that will lead to several confusion and rumors, and it will not integrate the society, it will disintegrate the society. So friends, be very very careful about giving judgment about other people. It is very important that you should have a clear idea of a transparent idea of what is the reality about that person or that very society or that very community. Then only you can put your comment. That is what I make an appeal of. Friends, thank you, have a nice morning. Thanks a lot.